Hey guys, Andy here. So the Pocophone F1 caused quite a stir back in 2018 when it came out. It was truly flagship specs, all top-end stuff, for about £300 if I remember correctly. I think maybe even a touch under. I'm not sure, don't quote me, but definitely much cheaper than you'd be paying for the other devices. So when I heard the Poco F2 Pro was coming along, I had to give it a go, really, didn't I? So a couple of things before we move on to unboxing the device. First of all, apologies for the bloodshot eye. Did it this morning, not even entirely sure what I did, but it's been painful and aching and all day, but it's fine. I'm fine. I can still just about see. Secondly, a massive thank you. I think I've got 3 Patreons now. Thank you very much to those guys. If you can spare just a few dollars a month, please consider it. Patreon.com/AAUK. It really does help. I buy all these devices myself. If I was lucky enough to have a whole bunch of Patreons, I would love to be buying devices each month and making these videos for you. So let's move on to the actual device. So here is the box. I seem to remember the Xiaomi are going this way with their boxes. Nice bright back with sort of the dark black. I seem to remember, was it the, well, I think the original Pocophone F1 did, and I think maybe the K20 Pro, was it? Had a similar, like a purple box perhaps, maybe. You see on the bottom there, I think this is the first 5G phone I've owned. I haven't got a 5G contract, so not a massive amount of use. This is the 6GB RAM, 128GB ROM, Cyber Grey. I couldn't actually remember what colour I'd ordered. I thought I'd ordered the white maybe, but no, so yeah, I think now vaguely I remember thinking, oh, let's have a grey phone. That sounds interesting. So, becoming reasonably familiar, there's probably a case in there. SIM eject tool. There it is. The case, which actually I kind of appreciate these days. I do tend to put cases on devices more than I used to. It depends on the situation. So here's the device itself. Whoa, that does feel big. So it is a 219 grams. That's pretty heavy. That's probably one of the heavier devices I've ever used. 8.9mm thick and 219 grams. Let's just double check what else is in the box. So it is the sort of, what was that, European charging brick. I got this from Banggood. I'll try to leave a link down below. They do include the converter brick for UK plugs. I mean, it does charge with power delivery 3.0 and quick charge 4+. So I would probably just use my own power delivery charging brick. It does fast charging while we're on it. It does fast charging 30 watts, which it says will charge 100% in 63 minutes. That's pretty crazy. We'll see how true. Well, if I can use this, if it does the fast charge. And I guess I might as well round off the whole battery bit with it's a non-removable LiPo 4700 mAh battery. Charges through USB Type-C, we will see, yeah. And I would suggest, or I would imagine, Xiaomi being Xiaomi, 4700 mAh will last quite a long time on a Xiaomi phone. They're often quite aggressive with their RAM management. Although I found I think it was the Mi Note 10, was it? The last Xiaomi device I used. It actually seemed better, so I often have problems with just not trusting if I'm getting notifications through, because I think it's so aggressive in closing apps down, they can't actually notify me when something happens. Let's just read what it says on the front as well. So, Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 with 5G, liquid cooled technology 2.0. 6.67 AMOLED full screen display, 360-degree triple ambient light sensor. That sounds interesting. A bit about the camera. You had 8K video, 20 megapixel pop-up front camera, and there's a bit about the battery and the fast charging. I will go through all the specs in a second as we're booting up, I suppose. So as I said, this one, that's quite nice, is the Cyber Grey. It's also available in neon blue, phantom white, and electric purple. All sound pretty interesting. I like the accented red power button. I don't want to finish pressing it. We'll see. There we go. See that? That's quite nice. Camera modules with a bit of a ring around. Volume buttons on the right hand side. Poco. Speaker, USB Type C at the bottom. We should have a headphone. There's a headphone jack at the top. Pop-up camera. So I'll find it MIUI 11. So it does run Android 10 and MIUI 11. But actually, I quite liked MIUI 11 when I was using the Note 10. Oh, we're already, okay. That's fine. Let me just go over some of the other specs still quickly. So I mentioned the Qualcomm Snapdragon. It's got a it's got an octa-core CPU, Cryo 585. It's got an Adreno 650 GPU. It's got the UFS 3.1 file system, which is just faster reading and writing. The 6GB of RAM is DDR Type 4. Apparently, if you can find the 8GB of RAM version of the device, it comes with DDR5 memory. It's got NFC and it's got an infrared port somewhere, or IR blaster, sorry, I suppose you'd be called. The screen, as been mentioned, is 6.67 Super AMOLED. It's about 87.2 screen to body ratio, and as you can see, there's not a lot of bezel on that screen there. It's 2400 by 1080, whoops, which is a 20 by 9 ratio, so it's a very tall device. That's about 395 pixels per inch, which should be fine for anybody. The glass front and back, I mean, it says glass back, that doesn't look like a glass back, but it says it is Gorilla Glass 5. It says the screen goes up to about 500 nits. That's the sort of advertised brightness. I've got my own light meter, I will be testing that for the main review. Aluminium frame, I mentioned the thickness. So the cameras, let's quickly just sort of mention the cameras. 64 megapixel main camera, f1.9, that's just a regular wide angle with phase detection autofocus. It's got a 5 megapixel f2.2 50mm, which is a telephoto, which has just regular autofocus. It's got a 13 megapixel f2.4 ultra wide, which bit of a must, I would say, these days. And it's got a 2 megapixel depth sensor. Now, the video, I think we saw it briefly on the front there, video 8K at 30 frames per second. That's pretty impressive. In fact, the video stats generally sound pretty impressive, like it's a powerful device. 4K, 60 frames per second, 1080p at 960 frames per second. 1080p at almost 1,000 frames a second. So that's the slow motion, obviously, but I think that's the first phone that I've used that's got 1080p slow-mo. That's got gyro electronic image stabilization. So it doesn't mention anywhere optical image, so I guess it's just only electronic image stabilization. I've kind of mentioned the pop-up selfie cam, which is 20 megapixels, f2.2 regular wide. That'll do 1080p, 30 frames per second, kind of as you would expect. So I think that's all of the specs. What I will do, I'll get logged in, I'll get a few things installed, I'll probably have a little bit of a play. In fact, it might be tomorrow morning now, we're getting a little bit late that I've finished just the sort of first impressions of the device. But via the magic of editing, I'll be back in a second. And there we go. So it's actually like the next afternoon, but I told you for you it'd be seconds. So although I unboxed it last night, I only started using it this morning. But I've moved my SIM over, I've started installing everything. For those that don't know, I'm going to go all in on this device. When I do my reviews, I use the device as my main phone for 4, 5, 6, 7 days, however long I feel it needs. So I get proper usage out of it and proper impression of how it is. So yeah, I set some things up this morning. I've been out for a bit of a ride and now I sit down and kind of trying to gather some of my thoughts really. So I suppose actually we'll start off with the fingerprint sensor. It's kind of weird. When I first set it up, whoopsie, I had a few that it didn't work very well. And then I set up other fingers and thumbs and it seems to have worked better since then. And generally, it seems okay. I mean, not the quickest, but that's all right. It doesn't have to be. Reliability is probably more important, and it seems pretty reliable. It is a fast and fluid device. It's nice and smooth. In fact, Geekbench 5, it scored 3,362. What it averages, I've run it more than once, which puts it top of the pile. So there's definitely plenty of power in the device, as you would expect with the specs that it has. It comes with the Poco launcher, which again, you would probably expect. It's a Pocophone, which is actually okay. It's quite nice. I don't feel any urge to put Nova Launcher or anything else on there at this point. You even get the Google feed over on the left-hand side, as you perhaps just saw earlier on, which I quite like. I quite like the Google feed. The gestures work well, so if we go into something and we can go back, we can go home, and it's all quite smooth. MIUI 11 is actually quite nice now. I'm sure I could go back to videos over the years that I've done with Xiaomi, and I've basically got, it's nice hardware, but the software sucks. That's just not the case anymore. It's quite pretty. It's quite stock Android-like in some ways. It's really fluid. It's got some nice little features in there. It's pretty good. It is pretty good. Don't forget to turn the adverts off. I did make a whole separate video on how to kind of remove adverts, because they will put adverts directly into the stock official Xiaomi ROM. But you can pretty much turn them off. So watch my video on how to do that. I think the screen looks really good, as you can see. While we're here, actually, while I'm thinking about it, I do quite like the theming as well. So going to themes, it's got some trending themes. These are premium look, but it's recommended. And they're just easy to hit to download, and you apply, and you get different icon packs. And there's different wallpapers. So I've used one from there. I like switching my the look of the device up every few days, really, actually. And it's so easily done in MIUI 11. But sorry, I was kind of talking about the screen. So let's... I would say that looks really good. I think you struggle to pick that out from any other sort of top-end device's screen, if I'm very honest. The speakers...
So I'm trying to figure out what that is. Have you done anything like that? Because I know you do giveaways on occasion, but this is like a bulk action that I want to take, you know?
It's a bit of a mixed bag for me. I know I had all these great...
Bonus points if you know who those two people are. Whack it in the comments. So yeah, the speaker, I listen to a lot of podcasts, especially in the morning, kind of getting my breakfast ready before work. Even to be fair, when I make phone calls, normally I'll use it on the speaker to have my phone on the desk. I prefer that to holding it up against my head. And yeah, it's pretty good. The screen looks good, the speakers sound good, everything's going well so far. Now on to the cameras, which, again, much like the software, can often be Xiaomi's downfall, I suppose. I reviewed the Mi Note 10 recently, which was kind of one of their big selling points was about the cameras, and it was sort of, it's okay. So I wasn't really sure what to expect coming into this, but it seems pretty solid. The main lens seems pretty reliable. I've only taken a few photos while out and about, but generally they seem okay. There's different lenses on. Obviously the macro, I wasn't impressed by the macro on the Mi Note 10, so I wasn't holding out much hope for this one, but actually I took a couple of pictures of a flower and it looked pretty good actually. Nice strong colours, pretty good detail. The 64 megapixel, I'm still not convinced. Possibly a bit of a gimmick, but it does seem better implemented than the 108 megapixel from the Mi Note 10. When you zoom in on a couple of the photos, there is a little bit more detail. There's good consistency, I think, across the different lenses, ultra wide angle, wide angle, and 2 times. They all look very similar. You're a little bit limited with only 2 times. You know, there's not, the Mi Note 10 has a 5 times, I think, others have 3 times. So 2 times is a little bit limiting, but it's okay. Night mode I've not really tested. I took a quick photo in my room when I woke up of my bike on the wall. Okay, we'll have to wait and see. The front facing camera, it looks okay. Looks okay, colours look quite strong. The portrait mode, I am not convinced by at this point. In fact, as I zoomed in to sort of check the outline of my helmet hair, the picture looked pretty bad, in fact, I would say. Video looks okay, a little jerky. That seems to be Android's problem with the panning. It just has that little stuttering, but on the whole, not too bad. Maybe the colours need to pop a little bit more. I mean, I would say they were quite accurate, but at the same time, they could pop a bit more. Some people prefer that. I did a little clip of using the front-facing camera to get the microphone check as well. This is a quick sample of the front-facing camera on the Poco F2 Pro. A bit of a mic check as well, and a lovely Saturday morning out for a ride. Interestingly, the colours look a bit stronger on the front-facing camera. So I think I've covered everything really on the device. It's a nice device. It's a little bit heavy, it's a little bit big, but so far it really ticks all the boxes. The software is actually really good. The screen I think looks fantastic. The speaker sounds great. The camera seems all right. Seems kind of something acceptable. Is probably the worst case scenario at this point, but we'll see. Battery life is still to be seen because I've only been using it for a few hours. Obviously, if you're thinking to buy this device, don't just take this video as the be-all and end-all. I will have a proper full review. I've literally only used this device for a couple of hours at this point, but rather than my old unboxing videos, I would literally unbox and we'd have a quick play and that'd be it. I've changed it slightly, so literally I will use it for a few hours to give a first impression, but now I'm going to use it, as I've said already, for 5-6 days. Honestly, at this point, I'm really liking it. It kind of makes me think, do I need to have spent £800 on a OnePlus 8 Pro? This device seems really nice, really nice. So we'll see. You'll hear more in the main review in a little while. So as I mentioned earlier, please check out patreon.com/AAUK. If you haven't already, do subscribe. I know everyone says it and it seems to annoy some people for some reason, but please do hit that thumbs up button. It helps with the algorithms and helps me get more views, and all of that just helps my channel generally, and you get more videos from me and that kind of thing. So please do hit the thumbs up. Check out other videos on my channel as well. That also helps and will hopefully entertain you or inform you. But for now, my name's Andy, and I'll catch you all again soon.